I used to think anomalies were accidents, nature's forgotten drafts, but the night I entered the Valley Lab, that belief died quietly behind me. The building stood half buried in the hillside, its rusted door breathing cold air like an open wound. Inside, the lights flickered with a pulse that didn't match electricity. Something deeper was alive here. The halls smelled of preservative chemicals and old metal, the kind that clings to your tongue. Every step echoed too loudly, as if the walls were listening. I passed specimen rooms with reinforced glass, each labeled only by a number, no names, no explanations. Some of the tanks were filled with cloudy fluid and silhouettes that twitched when the lights dimmed. I told myself it was just settling liquid. But even then, I knew better. A voice called from deeper inside, not human, not machine, something in between, like a broken memory trying to speak. And despite every instinct screaming at me to leave, the voice led me past the numbered doors into a wing that wasn't on any blueprint they'd shown me. The floor changed first, old tile giving way to bare concrete, stained in places where someone had tried very hard to clean something that didn't want to be forgotten. The temperature dropped with every step, like I was walking down a throat into something's stomach. At the end of the corridor, a single metal door waited. No window, no label, just a small brass plate, polished more recently than anything else in the building. It read, "Holding Quarry. Access by clearance only." My keycard shouldn't have worked there. It did. The lock clicked open with the kind of finality you feel in your bones. The smell hit me first. Damp earth, old blood, and something like wet feathers left too long in the dark. The stairs led down into a cavernous space where cages rose out of the concrete like teeth. Some were empty, some weren't. None of them looked like they were built for animals I'd seen in any textbook. Some cages were reinforced with layered steel and concrete. Others were patched with whatever they'd had on hand. Rebar, chain link, even welded together tools. You don't build variety like that unless you're learning the hard way what can and can't be contained. One enclosure near the far wall was darker than the others, its interior swallowed by shadow despite the overhead lights. The clipboard hanging outside read simply, "Specimen 14. No species, no origin, no notes. Just a heartbeat monitor cable running inside through a hole in the bars. It was flatline. I told myself that meant it was empty. Safer that way. I stepped closer. Something moved inside, not a full shift, just the suggestion of weight adjusting. Feathers, or something like them, brushed against metal with a dry, scraping sound. A hand, too long-fingered to be human, too articulate to be animal, slid briefly into the light, curling around the bar like it was thinking about how easy it would be to bend it. The heartbeat monitor flickered once, a single, soft beep. Dead things don't do that.
There is no escape.
I told myself it was just residual nerve activity, some artifact of bad wiring and a worse conscience. But then I heard it breathe. Not the slow, chest-deep respiration of a sedated animal. This was controlled, measured, the kind of breathing you do when you're trying not to be heard. "You're late," something said from inside the cage. The voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. It slid between the bars and under my skin, settling somewhere behind my ribs. I froze. The rule they drilled into every orientation briefing flashed through my head. If it speaks, do not engage. I should have stepped back. I should have turned around. Instead, I cleared my throat and asked, "You can see me?" Silence stretched, thin and sharp. Then very softly, "You're the new one. You smell unfinished. I took a step back without meaning to. The lights above flickered, and for a heartbeat I saw more of it. Wings folded wrong against a narrow torso, feathers slick with something that wasn't water, eyes black and bright, and utterly uninterested in the bars between us. Another beep from the monitor, stronger this time. "Go back upstairs," it murmured,
Join us.
before the others realize you don't know the rules yet.
There is no escape.
I listened. I didn't move. Somewhere farther down the quarry, a chain rattled, slow at first, then with the irritated violence of something that had remembered it was tied to the world and resented it. A low, wet scraping followed, like claws dragged lazily over concrete. Whatever was down there wasn't asleep. Above us, the building hummed with generators and fluorescent lights and the illusion of control. Down here, the sound didn't reach right. It felt muffled, distant, like I was already buried and listening to the world from underneath. "I'm not supposed to talk to you," I said, which was exactly the sort of thing someone who talks too much says. The thing in the cage made a noise that might have been a laugh if laughter could rust. "They all say that," it replied, before they start asking questions. A harsh intercom buzz shattered the moment, echoing off the concrete. "Level B caretaker," a voice snapped, distorted and calm. "Step away from 14 and report to medical intake. Your first delivery has arrived." It took me a second to realize they meant a patient, and another second to realize they didn't say, "for treatment." Medical intake wasn't on any public map of the institute. You had to know which stairwell to take, which door marked storage wasn't really for mops. The air got sharper the closer I got, too clean, too sterile, like they were trying to scrub guilt out of the oxygen. The loading bay door was already open when I arrived. A truck sat backed up to the platform, engine off, lights dead, like it had grown there. No logos, no plates, just matte paint that swallowed the white of the overhead lamps. Two people in green jackets stood by the lift, not looking at each other, not looking at me. One of them handed me a clipboard without meeting my eyes. "Sign for intake," he said. His voice had the flat tone of someone who'd stopped attaching meaning to words a long time ago. On the form, under patient type, someone had crossed out the printed options and written in a new term: transfer asset. The crate they were unloading was too big to be for one person and too small to be for more. Metal, reinforced, breather vents along the sides. Something inside shifted when they tilted it. Not the way a body rolls. More like something adjusting its limbs, testing its weight. "There's a boy in there?" I asked, before my better judgment could drag the words back. The man in green finally looked at me then, just once. "We don't get boys," he said quietly. "We get problems." They wheeled the crate past me like I was part of the furniture. The metal groaned under whatever was inside, bolts straining with each bump in the floor. Up close, I could hear it breathing, too fast to be calm, too steady to be unconscious. Someone had wrapped chains all the way around the housing, not for security, but like they were afraid the metal might change its mind and open on its own. Intake wasn't a ward, it was a room with drains in the floor and hooks in the ceiling. No beds, no charts, just a stainless steel table, a rolling tray of instruments, and a single camera in the corner with a little red light that never blinked. "Don't look in," the other handler muttered as they positioned the crate over one of the drains. "Why not?" I asked. He hesitated, then shrugged. "Because if you see its face, it'll have yours next time." The latch clicked. Something inside the crate spoke. Not in words, not exactly. More like sound forced into the shape of a language my bones remembered before my brain did. And whatever it was, recognized me. The sound slid under my skin like a needle, threading through nerves I didn't know I had. I didn't understand the word it used, if it was a word, but I understood the intention behind it. "Found you!" One of the handlers flinched, the other went very still. They didn't react like this was new. They reacted like it was expected. "Sedation," someone said behind me. A woman in a lab coat I hadn't heard come in stood by the door, clipboard pressed to her chest like armor. Her badge read, "Dr. Mirza, Behavioral Phenotypes." She nodded at the crate. "Caretaker, you're on vitals. Don't break eye contact if it tries to humanize." Humanize. The front panel unbolted with a hiss. Cold air poured out, carrying the smell of rust, wet fur, and something electrical, like burnt ozone after a storm. The interior light flickered on. It wasn't a boy. It was the rough suggestion of one, built out of wrong proportions and trembling muscle over bone that hadn't decided what shape to be yet. Eyes too large, teeth too many, spine knotted in places where something else wanted to grow. But it smiled when it saw me. Not with its mouth, with recognition.